Buhari dragged to the UN over 27 billion naira spending to renovate the National Assembly complex. Socio-Economic Rights and Accountability Project (SERA) has taken to the United Nations that the battle to stop the Buhari administration from spending 27 billion naira to renovate the National Assembly complex. The Nigerian group, in urgent appeal, asked 3 United Nations Special Rapporteurs to use their mandate to urgently request the Nigerian government and the leadership of the National Assembly to reverse the outlaw on National Assembly. It wanted the money spread on education and healthcare, which it said have suffered unlawful, disproportionate and discriminatory budget cuts. The special rapporteurs are Mrs. Kombo Bolibari, Special Rapporteur on the Right to Education, Mr. Dainius Puras, Special Rapporteur on the Right to Health, and Mr. Olivia De Schutter, Special Rapporteur on Extreme Poverty and Human Rights. In the revised 2020 budget approved on Tuesday, the federal government reportedly gave the National Assembly 27 billion naira for the renovation of its complex. The initial allocation before the review was 37 billion naira. Government then slashed allocations for health and universal basic education. The health budget was reduced from 44.4 billion naira to 25.5 billion naira, and the UBE budget from 111.7 billion naira to just 51.1 billion naira. In the urgent appeal dated June 3, 2020 and signed by SERA Deputy Director Kolawole Oluwadare, the organization said Nigerian authorities are putting politicians' allowances and comfort before citizens' human rights. The budget cuts show failure to address the growing economic and social inequality in the country and to genuinely address the consequences of COVID-19 on the poor and marginalized groups. Nigerians' budget deficits are caused by excessive expenditure on politicians, allowances, and mismanagement. Nigerian authorities would only be able to commit to fiscal discipline if their priorities, cutting the allowances of lawmakers and the costs of governance in general, rather than cutting critical funding for healthcare and education. We believe that alternative policies and measures such as reducing the cost of governance, including the excessive allowances for high-ranking public officials and the lawmakers, would have been a major priority solution to addressing budget deficits, as this would increase the available resources for healthcare and education, which in turn would contribute to reducing socio-economic inequalities. The number of Nigerians living in extreme poverty has increased since May 2015. The reduction in healthcare and education budgets would exacerbate the prevailing inequalities, poverty, and create a vicious circle of reduction in spending and increment in socio-economic inequalities. Without your urgent intervention, the Nigerian government and National Assembly would continue to spend the country's maximum available resources to satisfy the opulent lifestyle of politicians, rather than complying with Nigerians' international human rights obligations to respect, protect, promote, and fulfill the rights to healthcare and education. The poor and marginalized group. SERA said the budget cuts are real inconsistent with Nigerian commitment to implement sustainable developmental goals. Thank you for listening to this news. My dear viewers, I will tell you this. You must take it or you leave it. Make your findings. The purpose of this 27 billion is obviously for looting. Completely a misplaced priority. Nigerians should all step out to protest for bad administration, bad leadership. Since this administration, since the incentive or since the beginning of this administration, Nigeria has kept incurring excessive expenditures that are not clearly visible. Expenditures that when you look at, when you go outside and make your statistical findings, you will discover that is very, very far from what was actually requested for. You can imagine this administration, since it came into existence in this country, Nigeria has been incurring excessive expenditure, excessive debt upon debt. Let me tell you something that you don't know. The debt that this country is into now, my dear, I'm telling you the truth. I've not seen any country that has incurred that kind of debt. This is the only administration that has the highest debt on their neck. Go and make your findings. Obasanjo's time, Nigerians were lamenting. We were crying. Oh, we are in debt. Even to the extent that Nigerians requested that Obasanjo should step down for debt purpose. Now what happened? Haven't seen that Obasanjo and Atiku took a move. They took a move, and from that move, they were able to settle most of the debts. But in the case of this man, he will be seeing this debt. He will still be the one incurring this debt, and yet he will be doing nothing about this debt. Why is it like that? Why will this man be this autocratic? Why will this country be suffering for what they know nothing about? Why? I'm totally ashamed of being a part of this, of taking part in the election of this man. I'm totally ashamed. I'm not happy. I'm not happy at all. Why did I took part in nomination, in thumbprinting and choosing President Buhari as our president? Because his administration has done more harm than good to citizens of this country. Citizens are suffering. Poverty, high rates of poverty in this country, my dear. Oh shit. You go outside there and see what is happening. You go out there and you see how people are suffering. I'm not talking about the Fulanis that are carrying plates around looking for and begging. No. Now, even the Igbos and the Yorubas that used to at least see work to do and get a living are now carrying plates around like the Fulanis looking for wood to beg. In Nigeria now, we now have executive beggars. They have to go out and beg. They have to. For them to look that corporate and still come to you to beg, my dear. I'm telling you that they are trying to let you know that the country is no longer what it used to be. In fact, the country is bankrupt. See the allowances of our politicians, of our leaders. Look at their allowances. See what they are receiving. and we will be here saying that we don't have money. This country will never change. We will never change. We know ourselves and we know what we are doing. President Buhari, to me, I'm totally disappointed in him. I'm disappointed choosing him and voting for him. Even the Amajiris, to today, they are regretting for their actions. They are regretting. But then, no hope is lost. We just need to pick up the pieces of our mistakes and carry on. The deed has been made. We just need to be patient and allow his administration to be over. We would have paid attention to his first leadership as a president, but we didn't. So my viewers, what's your take on this? Please don't forget to leave them behind. Click on the subscription buttons as well as bell button to receive more updates. Thank you.